Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
Who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And what he do?
And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. I'm coming to you with my shark cufflinks today, 24-karat gold shark cufflinks, along with our content genius behind the camera, Michael Rivers. Today we're reacting to the biggest tool in the world, George DeVolder Santos. But before we get to that, let's say we are sponsored by eSign.com. eSign.com, a very effective way for any tool to remotely do business. Let's say you are the biggest con man on the planet and you are a tool. You're just an absolute tool, and all of a sudden you run for Congress and everything out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. Well, guess what? What happens in the dark comes to the light. And all of a sudden, you need a lawyer because you just got arrested and now call mommy, and mommy's got to bail you out. And what is she going to do? You know, she's got to call a bondsman. She's got to call a lawyer. And, you know, she's just sitting in her home and, you know, she looks downstairs. Your Cheeto stains are down there, but she's not down there. So what does she do? She calls the lawyer. She calls the bondsman. They can email her a document. What did they do ahead of time? They download the app, get 3 free signatures a month, and now she can remotely sign both the bond and the retainer agreement so she can get her tool out of jail. Our sponsors, because they support us and are able to give this content. Anyway, so let's talk about George. I can't believe what a tool I am, Santos. So yesterday, George Santos was arrested. And when George Santos got arrested, he got arrested because there was an indictment. And I've got the indictment in my hot little hands. This is the press release from the DOJ right here. It's a 19-page indictment. There's basically 3 components to it. So here, let me just tell you what the process is. So when somebody gets indicted, it's usually sealed. So up until now, it was sealed. What does that mean? That means it's not public. So the reason they do that is because before somebody, if I know that this indictment is coming, what am I going to do? Beat feet? Maybe. So they issue a sealed indictment. So that means it's not public, but there's a warrant out for your arrest, and you have no clue that it's coming. Although, ladies and gentlemen, he should have known it's coming. Tools generally are clueless, and he's so narcissistic and he's so full of shit on everything that he probably believes his own BS. So he thinks he's beyond anything. They issue an arrest warrant. The marshal goes out and picks you up, and when they pick you up, you shit your pants probably. And I'm sure he was just shocked because they picked him up and brought him to the U.S. Marshal Service. Typically, it's in the courthouse. And then he has his initial appearance. What's an initial appearance? Initial appearance is where they basically issue the indictment to you. They can read it to you, or you can waive the reading of it. And then, depending upon what the indictment's all about, will determine whether or not you're detained. And so he probably signed a signature bond, and he's out now. And now they set a hearing, the next hearing. So let's just watch him and see what this tool has to say.
All it is it's a witch hunt.
Why would you apply for unemployment?
It's a witch hunt. It's just, oh Jesus, does that sound familiar? It's just so much bullshit.
Benefits when you had a job making $120,000 a year.
Oh my God. The reporter's going after him like it's, the crime of the century. This happens every day, every single day.
This is inaccurate information, and I will get to clear my name on this. During the pandemic, it wasn't very clear. I don't understand where the government's getting their information, but I will present my facts.
Can I tell you something about the government? The U.S. Attorney's Office in every state, their conviction rate is like 96%. So they don't charge shit out that they know they're going to lose.
Taking a page out of former President Trump, saying that this is a witch hunt, It's
a witch hunt. Okay, so let's kind of break it down. And it's broken down into basically 3 categories. You have the fraudulent political contribution solicitation scheme. And I'm just going to kind of read you part of the press conference. So in September 2022, during his campaign, he operated a limited liability corporation. and he allegedly defrauded prospective political supporters. And basically, he took $25,000 from one supporter. It went into a corporation. I think it was the DeVolder Corporation, and they were promised that money was going to go towards the election. Towards TV advertising, towards whatever the election expenses. Instead, where did it go? It went into his fucking pocket. You can't do that. You can't tell, oh, by the way, I'm going to take your money and I'm going to use it for this, but then I use it for something else. So that's what he did. And here's the thing about these financial crimes, ladies and gentlemen. They're so easily proved. You just follow the money, and it's not hard at all. So that's the first part. Second part is unemployment fraud scheme. He was making $120,000 from his Florida-based company, investment firm number one, as it's called. And during the pandemic, he applied for government assistance through the New York Department of Labor, allegedly claiming falsely that he'd been unemployed since March 20. All you have to do is just look at his bank records or get the records from the company to show that you were employed. This is not rocket science. So when you apply for something, unemployment benefits, for example, you better be unemployed, because if you're employed, guess what? You're gonna run afoul of the law. And the last one, and I think this is hilarious. The last one, he made false statements to Congress. He overstated that he earned $750,000 in salary from the DeVolder organization. His name is DeVolder, by the way. That he had received between $1 million and $5 million in dividends from DeVolder Corporation, which he didn't. That he had a checking account with deposits between $100,000 and $250,000, which he didn't. And he had savings account with deposits of $1 million to $5 million. Wow, what a successful guy! Guess what? It's all bullshit. It's all 100% nonsense. And he's looking at a maximum of 20 years. These amounts and what he's doing here is not that serious in terms of stuff that I see, but it's still pretty serious because he's going to lose his seat in Congress. Further, Santos allegedly failed to disclose in 2021 he received approximately $28,000 in income from investment firm number one and more than $20,000 in unemployment insurance benefits. Oh my God. So
the place that the government got all of this information is from him. From the paperwork he filed himself. Right. This is a paperwork case, and that's the problem.
Here's the thing about white-collar cases. They're generally, they're all based on records. They're all 100% based on records. And records generally don't lie. And you take the records over time, and they paint a picture. And so you look at it, and one of the things he bought was designer clothes. Look how handsome the son of a bitch is. If you're going to steal money to buy khakis, come on now.
That's the problem for the congressman.
The reality is it's a witch hunt.
Why would you?
The reality is it's a witch hunt. I'm so successful as a congressman, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so here's the next steps. So the next step is what they're going to set a motion hearing. And what's a motion hearing? There's all kinds of different things that might need to be litigated. For example, if he gave a statement without being Mirandized, if they searched his home without a warrant, and there's a whole things about participating in jury selection and all kinds of other, government disclosures. So that's the next step, is to have a motions hearing. And generally, a lot of times you waive the motions hearing because you might not have anything that's really in dispute. So then they'll set it for trial. So this will be kind of on a fast track. You'll see that this isn't going to drag out like Trump drags his stuff out. Once Trump is facing federal criminal charges, they're not going to let him drag that stuff out either. Although his will be a lot more complicated. So this has just been our quick reaction to the biggest tool in the drawer.
Unemployment benefits when you had a job making $120,000 a year.
This is inaccurate information, and I will get to clear my name on this during the pandemic. It was.
So whenever you hear a defendant outside the courthouse saying, "I'm going to clear my name," guess what? How many times have you seen him outside the courthouse victorious and say, "I cleared my name"? Not that often, especially when you're dealing with the federal government. So he had his initial appearance, and at the initial appearance, you enter your not guilty or the arraignment. The initial appearance, you get a copy of the complaint. Then sometimes they combine the initial appearance and the arraignment. The arraignment is when they also, you enter your not guilty plea. And I'm sure they probably did that because you don't need to have 2 separate hearings for that. So that's George Santos. George, he's got nice sunglasses. He's a handsome devil, though, isn't he? And he's going to be, I've got a client like this right now. He went all over the place. He was the most predatory person I've ever seen in my life. He got unemployment benefits in about 8 different people's names, ripped off his own father. He even went so far as to make a video of himself being assaulted by the cops. And basically what that video was, he dressed up as a deputy and he had a mannequin and he beat the shit out of the mannequin, thinking somehow that this was going to be used later for a civil suit. The problem is when they seized his devices, they had the outtakes. I mean, it's just like you can't make this shit up. People think they can get over it, and it's like there's no shortcut. You know what? I went on a 10-mile hike with my daughter the other day, and I'm like, should we go that way? And she goes, shortcuts are good for anybody, Dad, in life. It's like, okay, fine. So, George, shortcuts aren't good for anybody in life. So this has been our reaction to George Santos. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?